Hi, everybody. I am coming on this morning because something has been ruminating in my mind and heart for quite some time. Are you a caddy or are you caddy? There's a big difference, as many of us know, that a caddy for a golfer is actually somebody who is helping the golfer and by carrying his clubs and other necessary tools for golfing. Whereas being caddy, or if you are caddy, you are being someone who is undermining other people, manipulative, controlling, and trying to get the upper hand by being rude or mean. Why do people do this? I can't tell you the exact reason, but I do know enough about life to know that a lot of times the people that are tending to be catty are quite insecure. They don't feel good about themselves and they don't want someone to have something that they don't, unfortunately. And this happens a lot. And honestly, I've been experiencing this since childhood where you have jealous girls or jealous guys too. I mean, men can be catty as well, but more often than not, women find themselves in situations where they are faced with someone who is jealous or doesn't want them to have something that they don't have. Even married women, even women who are in relationships, and I could never wrap my head around that. I didn't understand that. And of course, in life, people have emotions, and this isn't to bash anybody in particular. It's just to speak about this because I've seen it all over social media. I've had friends, even with daughters and sons, talking about this subject, talking to me specifically and asking for advice when their daughter, for instance, has a special skill of dancing and they're a beautiful dancer, beautiful girl, so strong, so disciplined, and being shunned and pushed out because of jealousy or catty behavior. And I want to preface all of this before I get too deep into the subject with this special scripture because I am a believer and you may not subscribe to the same beliefs I do, but that's okay. And I just want to share love with you. And this definition of love, many of you have heard, even at weddings specifically, but this one comes from 1 Corinthians 13, and it starts with verse 4. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. And then I'm going to skip down to verse 13. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. So anything I share with you on here, I have to be really fired up to share something. And I got really fired up this morning because even in this recent year, I've had to face this. And yes, it is a hurtful thing. And sometimes you can't understand, like, even if you're a Christian and being a Christian, you're supposed to be working and operating love, but we're all human. Every single one of us is a human being and has a different story to tell. And there are reasons, for this negative behavior, but especially as women, and you see these posts all the time about women should be lifting other women up. Yes. I mean, we would get much farther ahead in life in all realms, in all capacities, if we could just support each other, like that caddy would do a golfer, and bringing it back to that. And I'm saying, sometimes it's hard if you feel inadequate. Say you are feeling inadequate about your body. You don't feel like you're in the best shape, or you feel like, well, I don't have those talents that other person does, and I want those talents. Well, the way to get those talents and to work on yourself basically is to turn inward instead of looking at other sources for your security. And maybe, I'm going to tear that person down because they look better than me, or they think you're maybe thinking that they look better than you or have something that you don't have. And I'm just saying, love, my goodness, all these definitions that I just read off. Love is patient, love is kind. Sometimes it's really hard to have patience. Sometimes it's hard to have kindness. I work on these things every day. I try to exemplify Jesus in my actions, words, and deeds. And sometimes I fail in that. Do I keep a record of wrongs? I remember things very well. I have a very good memory. So, I could work on that for sure. However, I work in forgiveness. And I think it's very important when you are wronged to say, you know what? I don't know why this person did that, but by forgiving them, it's not saying it's okay. That action is not okay. but it's letting it go. So they're the ones that have to deal with their actions. And if you're a person who works in love and you're listening to this and going, yeah, I've been hurt, I've been, you know, been the brunt of jealousy or catty behavior, there is hope for you. There is love. And a lot of times it could be just creating stronger boundaries in your life to say, you can't trust everybody. You wish you could. I wish I could trust everyone. But knowing I have maybe two friends that I truly confide in, I know they have my back, I have their back. They've known me for numerous years and they pray with me. They are warriors in this life with me. And I just thank God so much for them because they've got my back and I've got theirs. And, do we fail? Do we, make mistakes and sometimes, let each other down? Of course, that happens. But at least we know each other well enough to be able to confront that and say, hey, this hurt me. And to be honest and in love. And it's really cool to see how we can grow through that process. But in life, when you face these challenges, I just say, okay, now I know. Now I know I can't trust this person. And now I know that I just need to go to God or go to my friends that really are there for me and just discuss this to say, we need to have protection in this life. Life is hard enough as it is without other people trying to counteract your life. Um, I'm going to give you an example. For instance, boy likes girl and quote unquote friend or acquaintance sees that this boy likes the girl or the girl likes the boy and she undermines that, she manipulates that because of jealousy, because I don't want her to have more than I do. Sometimes it's even in a friendship, you may have a friend that's a little obsessed or possessive of you through time, and I've experienced that too, where they'd rather you be single than with somebody because when they're single, at least they have somebody to hang out with and do things with. So sometimes people will try to block you from relationships selfishly. Maybe it's not something so evil. Maybe it's just, they want you to themselves. And that is unhealthy, obviously. But I hope I'm speaking to some of you out there. I hope that you know that if you ever need to chat or talk or reach out to someone, I am here. I've been a teacher for numerous years of all ages to adult and in numerous capacities, different types of subject matters. And I have seen this over and over again with young children, specifically girls in the classroom who are being bullied or they're being pushed aside or cast out because they have a special gift or they're pretty or they're considered beautiful and they get attention from the boys and vice versa. It could happen both ways. And I say I've seen this happen with guys too, where guy friends will, hey bro, I want to hang out with you tonight. And who's this girl? She's not all that. And, undermine and manipulate because they want the attention of that friend. And that happens just, man, probably too much. And how do we, as even a small community here, I'm in Lansing, Michigan, across the world, this happens, I'm sure, in so many places in the workplace, in the school systems, in the homes, even in families where this root of bitterness takes hold and it takes hold of people and they're not able to love each other or walk forward in forgiveness the way that they should because they're hanging on to something somebody did to them or they feel slighted, amongst brothers and sisters. Well, she got the, pick of the day because, she has better hair than me, or she smiles nice, or she has better color eyes than I do. I mean, you name it, it's out there. And I'm just saying, man, once again, who we truly are does come from within. Hopefully, it does. Work on your inner self. If you are having issues of feeling inadequate or not good enough, I'm going to tell you right now, you are good enough. You are enough the way you stand. Even if you are not meeting that world standard of what you think you're supposed to be, what your parents maybe told you what you're supposed to be, what your friends tell you what you're supposed to be. I challenge you this day to look inward. Find that inner peace. Find that strength within you, that gem, because you all are gems. You have something to contribute to this world. And it could be considered small to some, and maybe huge. I don't know personally what that is, but I do know that if you are human and you have breath within you, you are a beautiful creation, a beautiful shining light that could choose to turn that negativity around and Focus on the positive and find strength within you. Maybe you have beautiful hair. Maybe you have beautiful eyes. Maybe you're strong, like in your hands. You're a baker. You could do so many different things. Maybe you're an athlete. Maybe you are good at compassion. Maybe you could give an encouraging word to somebody in your life. Maybe you could be that friend to somebody in a senior home that doesn't have anybody. Maybe you could go to a soup kitchen and volunteer instead of focusing on others that seem to have more than you. When you turn that inward and start doing the inner work, you'll see amazing things happen to you. I could say, even in my own life, I practice this in the sense of I know I am the head and not the tail. I am a royal priesthood. I am worthy of love, and I am worthy to give love. Not only that, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I have a faith that shows me these things. And even if you don't, to focus on positive words, even looking in the mirror and saying, I am strong. This day is awesome. I am blessed. I am abundant. I might not have everything that I desire. I don't have everything I desire right now in my life, but I could say that I am grateful for what I have. I have a lot. And when you focus on those things, like even write down 10 positive things about yourself, say them out loud, say them in the mirror, look at yourself. Even if you've had feelings of, I don't love myself enough. And just when you start to speak it, something starts to come to life. I believe that the power of life and death is in the tongue. And what you speak out can become reality. But sometimes it's so difficult, it's so hard in circumstances that are contrary to what you want and what you believe that you desire, what you should have. A lot of times circumstances in this life are definitely contrary, 180. But through this work, I promise, well, I shouldn't make any promises online, but I truly believe that you can overcome any obstacle. And I'm saying this from a point of, I've been through a lot and I haven't shared my whole story on here. Maybe one day I will share my testimony of all the trials that I've gone through, but even within this subject matter, I can tell you I've been there. And I could never understand that catty behavior, jealous behavior, thankfully, in that standpoint of actually inflicting that on people. But I've been the brunt of that. And I know what that feels like. And I comprehend people, they're hurting people. They're people that are so devastated inside that they feel the need to lash out. And I'm telling you, if you are one of those persons that has inflicted that type of behavior on other people, it's not too late for you. You can turn that around. You can be a light. And when I close this little session here, I'm going to read to you, and this could apply to a man too. I had it sectioned off here and I may have lost it. I hope not. All I could tell you is it's after Psalms in the Bible, and it is Proverbs 31. And that Proverbs 31 talks about a noble woman. I am striving to be this woman every day. But Proverbs 31, starting at 10. A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant's ships, bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still dark. She provides food for her family and portions for her servant girls. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong and for her tasks. And her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand, she holds the distaff, which is like a stick that holds wool, and a spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed, and she is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them. and supplies the merchants with sashes, excuse me. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom. And now you get to see Macchiato doing her gymnastics up above my head. So, long story short, with all that being said, that scripture, I needed my reading glasses, hence the hesitation. That scripture speaks of a woman who has wisdom, a woman who is business savvy, someone who lifts her husband up, someone who seeks to love and encourage. She's considerate, she's compassionate for her servant girls. She dresses in fine linen. She clothes her household. She feeds her household. My goodness, what a resourceful woman. And if we ponder that a bit, we can be that. We can be that not only for ourselves, to nurture ourselves, but others. I challenge you today to think on these things and choose a better future for yourself. Choose a better day today. And maybe during this season of giving, think about something that you could do to make a difference in somebody's life. And for me, I'm considering going to a soup kitchen. I would like to do that. My grandfather, actually, my mom's dad, my Papa Clay, I called him, he had a tradition in the past, and he would make his children aware of the fact that there were children and other families that had lesser than. And he would have them pick out their nicest stuffed animal or something that they had, and they would go and find a family in the neighborhood less fortunate. And they wouldn't make themselves known. They would collect a box or a bag and take it and put it on the doorstep, knock at the door. Sometimes I believe I have some stories that I could share where they met the people actually eventually, and what a difference that can make. So it doesn't have to be known. It could be something that is done when no one's watching, but could make a huge difference in someone's life. God bless. See ya. And maybe I'll come back with a third episode.